Hi guys, how are you all? We're just waiting for a few more people to join in. Hi Sarthak. Guys, I'm Ishita from DLF Emporio and I'm their personal shopper. Today we're going to go live with Dr. Geetika since skincare has become an integral part of our well-being and daily routine. I thought maybe today's session should be about bridal skincare routine. Just waiting for her to join in and a few more people.
Hi,
Hi doctor, how are you?
I'm brilliant. How are you?
All well. So our viewers are here. Why don't you start by introducing yourself?
Absolutely. So, for everyone who is joining in, I'm Dr. Geetika Mittal Gupta. I'm the founder and medical director of Isaac Lux. Isaac Lux has been the destination for all your aesthetic needs for last 10 years. We are located in Vasant Vihar in Delhi and also in Mumbai. And I believe that non-surgically also you have so many solutions to look and feel beautiful all year round at whatever age you feel like. So, yes, today we are going to talk about my favorite topic, skincare. And because I know so many brides, in fact, they're getting married in November, in December, in January, and all of them are getting a lot of, goosebumps because the time is very less, their movements are restricted. So, it's a very interesting topic that we are going to discuss today.
Yes, and skincare with brides, with people in general, it's the most picked topic. People want to know how to improvise your skin, how to make it better, especially brides. They're so conscious about these things. And it's always better to start early. What do you think?
You know, skin is the largest organ of your body. All the other organs are actually hidden inside, and skin is what is visible, and that is what reflects your inner health. So, whatever health or your stresses or your mental issues, everything reflects on your skin. So, yes, it's just not for the brides, but each and everyone wants, I'm sure, every one of us wants to have a glowy, perfectly healthy skin. We don't want to wear makeup, we want to like roll out of the bed having a skin which is poreless and pretty. So, and even for the brides, because they're getting married, they want to feel special and they know that their skin deserves the best. And sometimes when they're young brides, they have never, addressed issues with skin. So that is what is bringing more focus to the skin for them because they've never addressed it before. And now that they are getting married, they're stepping into the new phase of their life. They want to look and feel their best.
Absolutely. So before we jump right into the bridal skincare regime, I wanted to ask you a few personal questions. What is Dr. Gitika's skincare routine?
Oh,
Something your go-to.
absolutely. So my skincare routine, in fact, changes. I personally believe your skin changes not only every season, but it changes every day of the month. Because whatever you're eating, whatever you are, consuming, or even your women's hormone, they play a very, very important role in the skin. So, for example, if one night you have some alcohol, next day you might feel some redness or irritation on your skin. Similarly,
Mhm.
you're not drinking enough water, next day your skin would feel more dehydrated. So your skin bounds to change, and you need to listen and have a great contact and a great relationship with your skin to give it the best food that it requires. So my skin routine is actually very simple, but yet I keep changing it. These days, thankfully, due to COVID, I'm not applying a lot of makeup. Going out is very restricted, so that has done good to the skin. I start in the morning with the basic routine of the cleanser, toner, serum, under eye cream, moisturizer, and a sunblock. And then at night, it's generally, the same thing, but I exfoliate twice in a week. At night, I add some retinols twice in a week and some acids twice in a week at night. So that pretty much does the wonders for my skin. And if I have some acne or anything that I need to take care of, then of course we use spot correctors for that.
Correct. Absolutely. That's lovely to know. But is there anything specific, that you recommend for dry skin versus oily skin when it comes to skincare routines? I know that it's not the same for both. So what is it that you recommend for, these skin types?
Sure. So if someone has dry skin, definitely your skin needs more hydration inside out. You need to increase the intake that you have been hearing everywhere, because dry skin can also be dehydrated skin, which means that your skin is actually not getting enough hydration from inside. So start
Right.
increasing intake. And then when it comes to hydration creams, make sure you layer your products quickly. So after you have taken your bath, your shower, don't
Mhm.
wait for one product and then the second product. Layer them quickly, because as quickly as you layer them, more moisture is sealed inside. Look for hyaluronic acid based serums. There are a lot of serums available in the market. What I would suggest is mix vitamin C with hyaluronic acid to get better results. And then a moisturizer also, which has ceramides or hyaluronic acid, that would also do wonders. Would it be okay if I give some brand names over here? I don't know, how would that be?
You can give your personal recommendations if you'd like. That would be fine.
That makes it slightly more easy for me. So face wash, Filorga face wash has hyaluronic acid that one can use for dry skin. Then for serums, there's Is Clinical Hydra Cool Serum, which is very good for dry skin. And then you can use vitamin C from Zenobaji, which has a self-activating vitamin C. And then a moisturizer, which is my personal favorite for dry skin, is Dermceutic Hyal Intense. All these products are available at a good chemist or even at my clinic, so you don't have to run here and there. You can just visit a good chemist and get all of them. And when it comes to oily skin, somewhere or the other, maybe you're over exfoliating or your skin producing excessive oil that you're not able to moisturize it. So make sure you use a face wash which is sebum control face wash, like Bioderma sebum face wash. Then make sure you use azelaic acid, because that will control the oil production, followed by a moisturizer like a Bioderma Sebum, which will further give the enough moisturizer, because your skin needs to know that you have the moisture barrier. Otherwise, your skin will start producing more and more moisture or oil from inside, thus making your skin feel oily. So it's like a both way process. You need to use a moisturizer even if you have oily skin, and don't over exfoliate. I know a lot of people who love exfoliating their skin. They feel that it gives a clean finish to the skin. Let me exfoliate my face, let me scrub my face. It's not a good idea, because if you're over exfoliating, you're removing the top layer, which is the protective layer on the skin. And when you remove it, your skin will produce more oil from inside, and that will give your skin more oiliness.
Well, that's not something that all of us do. So thank you for sharing that piece of information. I hope our viewers are taking notes. You mentioned vitamin C a while ago. So, a lot of our viewers are also curious about this. Is vitamin C better taken orally, or is it better to apply vitamin C serum?
You can never have enough vitamin C, because vitamin C is a water soluble vitamin. So even if you take orally, your body would absorb whatever it requires. And if it is anything excess, it will just remove it from your body via urine. So you should take orally vitamin C for your immune protection, for your collagen synthesis, at least 1000 international units every day. So that is for oral. But application is separate, because that is protecting your skin on the top from the sun damage. So when you use vitamin C in the morning, it is not only protecting your skin, but it is also helping correct the early signs of aging, which can be those, fine sunspots that you get on your skin, or early signs of wrinkles that you get on the skin. So orally and topically, both ways, vitamin C is very important.
That's nice. But do you think sunscreen is also as important? And what is the age that people should start wearing sunscreen? Is it also something that kids should do?
Absolutely. So sunscreen is like your protective barrier. So what happens when you go out in the sun? The sun
Mhm.
have UVA, UVB, they are visible rays, infrared rays, which are causing skin damage. That can be with overproduction of melanin, which is actually protecting your skin by producing the melanin, the dark pigment, or it will produce early signs of aging, like spots on the skin, wrinkles on the skin. So for children, sunscreen is essential if they're going outdoors for swimming or for some activities, because that is the time the skin would start to age or will start showing a lot of pigmentation early on. So use a physical sunblock for children which have more zinc oxide, because we don't want chemicals for children's skin. But as you age more and more, after the age of, say, when you've reached your adolescence, you can start using chemical plus physical sunblocks, which further improve your skin barrier protection. So there are a lot of sunblocks available in the market, and you should use the sunblock half an hour before stepping out in the sun, and every 2 to 3 hours when you're out in the sun. So don't think that you've applied the sunblock in the morning and you're good to go. You have to keep reapplying the sunblock because it gets disintegrated in your skin as you are out.
Every 2 to 3 hours, you said.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So a while ago, you also mentioned about, how lifestyle and food also reflects on your skin. So does stress. So could you just elaborate a little on that? How does food affect our skin?
Yeah, so we all have heard it from our parents, from our grandparents, that whatever you eat reflects on your skin. I would say there are no shortcuts, and it's actually true. There are so many micronutrient deficiencies or nutritional deficiencies which can reflect on your skin. Say for under eye dark circles, which are more and more prevalent now because people are using their digital devices more. So if you have lower hemoglobin or your serum iron ferritin levels are low, you will get more under eye dark circles. And if your B12 levels are haywire, you will start having a lot of dryness around your lips. Your mucosa would be more dry. Similarly, if you have other vitamin deficiencies like vitamin D and your hemoglobin is not in the right parameters, you will start having hair fall. So all these things are very, very important to be looked at. And your food is the largest source of vitamins. We always talk about nutritional supplementation. They're definitely a good thing to do, but what you can get from your food cannot be replaced. So always look at your food as medicine to your body. So choose well, be it your breakfast, be including a lot of seeds in your diet, like pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, chia seeds. They have a lot of micronutrients in them. Have your eggs, have full eggs, because even the egg yolk has vitamin D, which is the only, maybe the only source of natural. So make sure you look at your food holistically, not just for the taste, but also for the nutritional value.
Right, right. So now jumping into bridal skincare, when do you think is the right time for brides to start deciding onto a skincare treatment?
Sure. So, there's not one thing that fits everyone. All brides are different. So let's just put them in two categories. There's one bride which has certain issues that need to be addressed, like acne scars, pigmentation. And there is one sort of a bride whose skin is healthy. She doesn't need much attention, but she just needs to, make her skin glow more, make her, maybe work on her features a little bit, or maybe she just wants a little bit of microblading or fillers here and there. So these are two sets of bride. So if there is a bride in category A who has, say, acne scars or some issues, I would want those brides to at least visit the clinic 6 months prior to their wedding, because that is the time your dermatologist can actually work on your skin better. We can look at your acne, because we cannot treat your acne scars before we stop the acne first. So we can start treating your acne, then your acne scars, because all these treatments also have a lot of resurfacing lasers or aggressive peels. So if we are doing all of that, we definitely need enough time at hand. Vis-a-vis a bride who doesn't have many issues and just is wanting some glow on their skin, she can even visit the clinic maybe 2 or 3 months prior. That is more than sufficient. And of course, laser hair reduction is one of the most popular treatments amongst the brides. If you can come like 7-8 months prior to the wedding, you will be done with majority of your sessions. You will get good results. But even if you start it like 2-3 months prior to the wedding, definitely the growth will be much, much reduced.
Correct, correct. In fact, soft and supple skin is what brides want. That's their ultimate goal. So, do you think, what are the dietary, nutritional values, or, what foods should the brides intake, a few months prior to the wedding that will actually make their skin glow?
Sure. So, whatever brides come to me, first of all, I run a blood check for all of them because I would want to know if there are any nutritional deficiencies that I need to know. So, after running the blood check, if there are nutritional deficiencies, I give them some supplements. And then I would always suggest them to start their days healthy. So, after understanding what's their life routine, like the morning shots of your wheat grass juice, that's very important. And then following your day with wholesome fruits, having eggs or a chila in the morning, followed by a nice smoothie mid morning, or it can also be a buttermilk because they are very, very healthy. You can add some pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds to your smoothie to make it even more healthier. Or if you're having buttermilk, that's just with some pudina powder or jeera powder, that's really good for your gut. In the lunch, I love home cooked food, and that's what I suggest everyone. Have regular home cooked food. If you're a rice eater, limit the amount of rice and have more of vegetables to go with it, have more of lentils to go with it. Evening, if you're working out, then make sure that you have enough protein. If you're vegetarian, make sure you have enough plant protein. There are a lot of plant protein powders available, and if you don't want to have them, then there is quinoa, there's a lot of lentils, there's brown rice, there are peas, which are natural protein sources. You must make sure you have enough protein, because if you don't have enough protein in your diet, which I've seen in vegetarians especially, their hair start to break in the middle, and the skin also starts looking very sallow and very, very tired. So you need to
Right.
have enough. So evening snack is very important, and then at night make sure you have again some vegetables, home cooked vegetables. You can make a stir fry, you can make some nice broccoli sauteed, or anything that you like on those lines. Have an early dinner and then give your gut some rest. I don't believe in eating at frequent intervals. I believe that after you have finished your whole day of eating, give your gut some rest so that you get that time to digest. It is more or less like intermittent fasting, but at least 10 to 12 hours of gap. That's what I really believe between the dinner and the breakfast next day. Make sure you include a nice vegetable smoothie every day. One of my favorite smoothies, I would love to share the recipe, is with celery, carrot, and you can add some cucumber, beetroot. Churn them, all of them up, and add a little bit of lemon juice, ginger to it. And this is a beautiful smoothie. It has so many nutritional value inside. It's good for your hair, it's good for your skin, it's good for your gut. And if your gut has some issues, you can even add some chia seeds. Soaked chia seeds do good to your gut.
Right. So essentially, a balanced diet and a balanced lifestyle makes good skin, good glowy skin.
Absolutely. That workout, that glow that you get post workout when your blood circulation improves, that's the best glow. So make sure you do at least 30 minutes of workout every day. Or you can even split it up. Like morning, you do 20 minutes walk in the morning, and evening, you can do some weights. So try to move around a lot, because that all will also release the feel good hormones, the happy hormones.
Correct. So these were our do's for the brides. What are the don'ts that, some precautions or anything that we're supposed to take before 2, 3 months before the big day?
Absolutely. That's a very important question. First of all the brides must understand they should not go to any dermatologist or a doctor fresh whom they don't know, whom they have not heard about, because this is not the time that you should experiment with your skin. Build a relationship with your doctor, because what if just 2 days before your wedding you get a big acne on your face? A doctor with whom you have built a relationship would always understand what your skin needs and what has gone wrong, vis-a-vis a new doctor that you have just gone to. That's number one. Number two, don't experiment too much with DIYs. Sometimes when you're following a good skin regime given by a doctor and you start putting in DIYs, they can actually go wrong. You can end up with a very bad rash on the face. Third, make sure you don't go for any resurfacing or any injectables just about 15 days before your wedding, because there are chances that you can end up with some swelling or redness, and that is not something that you would want just before your D-Day. And next point, make sure you always ask your doctor or the clinic that you're visiting that what technology are you using. Don't get bought into cheaper things or cheaper deals, because good technology would cost you a certain amount, and that is worth it. So always ask your doctors that what laser are they using, what technology is it, what is the brand name, and then go and find out about it. Like in my clinic, I'm never hesitant to share about it because we use the best technology. It should be US FDA approved. It should be something that has been tried and tested on Asian skin. So make sure you ask all these questions. And when you are doing all this, never forget there are no shortcuts. You have to follow a good diet, a good lifestyle, together with the doctor recommendations to have a beautiful glowing skin. And we are putting in the makeup, make sure you don't sleep with it, because if you sleep with the makeup on, it will clog up your pores. You might end up with acne, you might end up with a lot of dryness. So make sure you clean your face properly. Don't get excited to use just wipes, because they're not too good for your skin. Rather do double cleansing, which I generally suggest to all my brides. Use oil cleanser first, then a micellar water, and then the foaming face wash, because that will actually clean your face to the core, and that's what is very important.
Correct. Absolutely. That's very informative. In fact, someone like me who's, not very well versed with the treatments and the technology that is going on. So, what would you recommend for our brides? Should they go in for treatments? Should they not go in for treatments? And what are the treatments for different people, basis their skin type? What would you recommend?
That's in fact a good question, and I'm going to take time to answer that, because that's going to be a little, detailed answer on that. So let's start with a bride who has active acne. She has
Mhm.
big acne on her face and she doesn't know if it's hormonal. She's never been to a dermatologist before. So she should visit the doctor, and we would suggest her quite a good blood checkup to understand if it's hormonal or not. I would suggest her a combination of peels and IPL laser to take care of the active acne. And then comes the bride who has acne scars. So that is active acne. We will give her the medication, we'll give her the treatments. Then comes brides who have scars. Those pitted scars, they're more like craters inside the skin. So when they're scars, they need to understand that the treatment is little slow. We need to use certain aggressive lasers for them, which are like fractional CO2 lasers. They require to be done once every month, and they would also have some downtime, like scabbing on the skin. So that is the treatment protocol which is done for women or brides to be who have scars. Then comes the bride some pigmentation issues. For pigmentation, definitely a skin regime would be given with vitamin C or maybe with some skin lightening acids. And then I would suggest them a combination of IV drips, the VitaGlow IV drips, which I simply love. They have glutathione. It gives your skin brightness. And then I would suggest them maybe Q-switch lasers or some peels to remove the pigmentation, depending if it is. Then comes a bride who just wants the glow and needs a little fresh skin for the wedding. I would want to do GG Glow, which is one of my favorite treatments. It's a Korean special treatment which uses pigments, natural pigments, and vitamins to just give you the flawless look that the bride needs. So I would give them GG Glow. I would combine it with some IV drips to make her skin brighter from inside. And then there are brides who need a little bit of fixing here and there, who would want their lips to be a little more plumpier, who maybe don't like their cheeks so much. They have flat cheeks. They want some fillers. I would want them to be treated maybe 2 months before their wedding, so that they like their look, what we have created for them with the. So that's pretty much, bits and pieces, snapshots that we would do and curate for the brides to be. And laser hair reduction remains the basis for all the brides. Every bride who comes to our clinic definitely starts with laser hair reduction, and then we curate the packages for their individual requirements accordingly.
That's lovely. That's really nice. What do you think about microblading though? Is that also a part of, the treatment that you
Absolutely.
give?
See, that's not a need, that's a want. So if someone wants microblading, it's a wonderful thing to do, because definitely, and nowadays, because your half of your face is covered with the mask, your eyes are, the major, speaking for you. So you have to work on your eyes. And microblading has beautiful results. We do the microblading in my clinic with the doctors, where they assess your facial shape, your eyebrow shape, and we curate the shape for the brows accordingly. So microblading can be done. The results are beautiful. And together with that, bride to be can also choose for treatments which work for under eye darkness, which is called eye light treatment. So yeah, these treatments are actually very popular these days because everyone is emphasizing more and more on their eyes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, my last question before we dive into the questions that are coming in would be that what is your go-to DIY mask for, something that's made at home?
Okay. So generally speaking, if it is meant for like anyone and everyone, I don't want to very aggressive because we don't want anything to be going wrong, because I've got so many messages over this period of lockdown with skins actually breaking into a rash due to DIYs. So make a very simple DIY which is very easy. You can freeze ice cubes in your fridge. You can freeze with aloe vera. You can freeze them with green tea. You can mix some cucumber juice with a little bit of rose water and try and use them as often as possible, because that ice will not only close your pores, they will shrink the pores. That will also give you a nice shine, and together with the nutrients it will make your skin brighter. So that's a very easy DIY that everyone can do. Even for the brides to be, before the makeup goes on, you can do nice icing on your face and you would love that glow.
Right, right. Now let's go into the questions.
I can see we have got loads of questions here.
Please tell something for henna for graying of hair, Dr. Gitika. What would be your recommendation?
Premature hair graying is something that is becoming very evident these days. The major reason for that is genetics. The second is stress, and third is micronutritional deficiencies. So genetics, you can't do much with it, but when it comes to deficiencies, I would want to run a blood check to know if you have any low hemoglobin, iron, ferritin levels, how is the levels there, and then we try to rule them out. What generally we suggest is some multivitamins with zinc, especially, they work very well. But other than that, there is no medication as such which would help in premature hair graying. There's definitely a DIY which I had come across. It was with bay leaves, which we call the tej patta or kari patta. You can actually make a nice hair pack with that and apply it over the area where you are getting premature hair graying, and that can help. So why it's happening is because there is a catalyst missing, which is not able to remove the hydrogen peroxide which is produced at the root of the hair to make your hair darker. So we have to provide it back. People also sometimes grind ashwagandha tablets and put it in their hair packs to help them with premature hair graying. But I don't have any scientific data to that, but that's pretty much the knowledge that I have acquired over the time.
Okay, also someone's asked, please suggest sources of protein in vegan diet.
So if you're vegan, then there's quinoa, which is a very good source of protein. Then there is amaranth flour, which is available in the market very easily these days. And then there is brown rice and sprouts. They have a lot of protein. And there is sattu ka atta, which we call, which is basically the chana atta, which you can use. It has also a lot of protein. You can make a smoothie with sattu ka atta. You can just, put water in the flour and maybe add a little bit of gur to it, or maybe a little bit of lemon. It's a wonderful post-workout protein drink that you can make if you don't want to have plant protein powders.
That's pretty doable. Also, I have pink acne scars. Which is the best treatment, peels or laser? Please suggest. I have my marriage in 8 months.
Okay. So you have a lot of time. 8 months is a good time. So big acne scars are, again, lots of types. There are box scars, there are roll scars, there are pin ice pick scars. So each and every scar is definitely identified in the clinic, and we handpick the treatments. But generally speaking, I would choose maybe a fractional CO2 laser together with a aggressive peel, or a derma roller together with PRP to give you good results. But it again depends what kind of scars do you have. So maybe you can, DM me and I can help you better.
Rest, I think we've covered. Tips for very dry skin. Thank you so much, Dr. Geetika. That was a lovely session and super informative. I hope that our brides benefited from it. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. It was really interesting. I think I've shared a lot of knowledge, and this would be saved, guys. Just go back and listen to the video. Please feel free to DM me, and I would be happy to answer all your questions. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.